Hello, YouTube. Welcome back to another episode. Now, in today's episode, we are going to really examine the failure rate within the retail trading industry because this is really getting out of hand. And it's interesting to know that there is a whole lot of knowledge within the retail trading space, right? Like there is a lot of knowledge. Knowledge is not something that is short, that is wanting in any way, shape, or form. There's ICT. There are a lot of trading academies. There are a lot of mentors online. There's a lot of knowledge, in recent times in the trading space. But what that has done is that it has not in any way, shape, or form, negated the statistics. It still shows a high failure rate. It still shows, the rates, the numbers are not improving in terms of the rate of success within the academy, contrary to what we see on social media. And in social media, we are seeing a lot of things like you start to see people who post screenshots. We are seeing a lot of people who come up and they say they made a lot of money trading forex and all that, and by the time you really start to dig into it, it turns out that these guys are not even traders at all in the first place. And it's just maybe people who made their money in different means, and then they are masquerading as traders and pretending to be traders. So this has become more like a pandemic, especially within the Nigerian trading space. So in today's episode, we are going to be looking at some of these things, and also we are going to look at the prime reason why there is such a huge and high failure rate. The mental reason why that is. It's not more than it's a few, but the mental reason why there is such a high failure rate within the industry is what we are going to get into today. Number one, the number one reason is you don't stay with your strategy long enough. You don't stay with your system long enough to gain the confidence required to trade that system effortlessly. Now, for you to be able to gain confidence in any system you are trading, you need to spend an incredible amount of time trading that system over a long stretch of time. Now, if you don't spend enough time trading that system, you're not going to be able to have enough information, enough data to be able to have the confidence you need to be able to execute. Because the prime thing that is really wrong with a lot of traders is a lot of time they run into a losing streak and they quickly back out. They give up. They start to look for what to change in the system. They start to look for something that could be wrong with the system, and that is a very huge problem. So you must be able to trade a system long enough to see that this particular system that you are trading is highly profitable. You've traded it through drawdowns, you've traded it through losing streaks, you've traded it through winning streaks, and guess what? In all of those combination of factors, you still came out on top. So you need to be able to spend a significant amount of time with any trading system to be able to have the type of confidence you need to execute. Because primarily, when it comes to trading, the most important thing is execution. Can you execute? Can you pull the trigger when necessary? Or will you run into a losing streak and suddenly now, because you've run into a losing streak, now you're panicking, now you're afraid, you don't want to trade again, you're not pulling the trigger again, you're hesitant. All of these things are coming into play. It's all in your mind. So you need to be able to eliminate these things by staying with the system long enough, trading it over a long period of time, through failures, through drawdowns, without trying to find new mentors every week, without trying to find new people to follow every week. And if it requires you to unfollow all the traders on social media that are consistently showing you their charts, that are consistently showing you chart patterns, how they trade, their strategy, trying to teach you if it requires you to unfollow all these guys, unfollow everybody. If it requires you to leave all the Telegram channels, leave all the Telegram channels and stay with one long enough to be able to get the result. So it now brings me to my second point. How many people are you following? What type of information are you exposing yourself to? Because when you overexpose yourself to information, that becomes a problem as well. When this person publishes new content, you are there. This person publishes new content, you are there. You are attending every brand new forex strategy session that there is, and the new strategy is not going to make you money. What is going to ultimately lead you there is sticking with the old one that you know. In fact, you'll be surprised to know that there are guys who trade something as basic as support and resistance, and they do it very well. They do it fabulously well. Just support and resistance, break and retest. They trade it just like that, and they do well trading it. And if they trade it long enough, there is no way they are not going to get results. But guess what? You don't even, the support and resistance, the bare basic, the ICT, the smart money, whatever, all of these things that you know, that you've learned along the way, that sound very fancy, that you've learned. Have you even stayed with it long enough? No, you've not stayed with it long enough. So that is a problem. The second reason why there's such a high failure rate within the industry is there is something that is in the mind of a trader. It's in the mind of a trader. Now, I want you to understand something. Let us say you are trading your account or you're trying to pass an evaluation. You need to make 10% to pass that evaluation. And by 8%, you start to notice that. Have you ever gotten to a point when it's 8% or 9% to pass it? You start to notice that your eyes become fixated on the target line. And all you want to do is just get to the target line now or to the finish point. And, there's a tendency for you to begin to make the wrong decisions. There's a tendency for you to begin to, do things that are outside of your trading plan, just because you've gotten somehow close to the finish line. But now, that particular thing that happens to you is a psychological thing. You want to quickly just get to the end so that you don't have to deal with the uncertainty of what if the next trades. That's when you now start to ask the question, what if the next trades send you back to drawdown? What if the next trades, now you're at 8%, what if the next trades take you back? Now, if you don't trust your system enough, if you don't have the psychological belief and mental belief in your system enough to know that this system that got you to 8% is going to get to 15, that 10% there now stands as a barrier. And how is it a barrier? I'll give you an example. If, for instance, you are a person that has never made $1 million in their life, or you are a person that has never seen $1 million, or probably you've never seen 10 million, and now you are looking at a trade and that trade is at 900,000. The limitation of in your mind that you have never seen X amount of money is going to come and haunt you. So the first thing you must deal with as a person, as a trader, is that you must reprogram your mind to believe in money, to believe in wealth. You must reprogram your mind. If you cannot get your mind to believe, if you cannot trick yourself into any way, shape, or form, the same way maybe you've been down because poverty tends to condition you. If you cannot get yourself to believe that I am worthy of $1 million, I am worthy of 10 million, I am worthy of 100, I am worthy of $1 billion. Talking of Naira, I'm in Nigeria, and of course, if it's dollars, yes. I am worthy of $1 billion, I am worthy of 10 billion, I am worthy of 100 billion, I am worthy of so much more. If you cannot convince your mind to naturally believe it like that you are worthy of that and that you can actually have it, you would naturally do things that will sabotage you getting there. So it now boils down to the belief system of a trader. The things you believe inherently about yourself and the things you don't believe about yourself, whether you like it or not, whether you believe it or not, they are going to translate into the actions you take in the market. And that is the truth. So you must get to a point where you begin to re-engineer your mind and rewire your mind, reconfigure your mind, however you want to do it. You must reconfigure your mind in such a way that you believe all the right things about yourself and you believe all the right things about money. If you don't, I can guarantee you are going to naturally sabotage your own trading by yourself. And that is exactly one of the biggest problems that traders have. If they get to a certain point, let's say they're trying to trade an account from $1,000 to whatever, they get to a certain point, the doubt begins to creep in. And the moment the doubt begins to creep in, you start to do all the wrong things. You start to take all the wrong actions. You start to, do all the things that sabotage your system. And before you know it, you're bleeding out the account again. And you're like, Momo, I talked on before, So as a trader, your mind must be configured in such a way that you have the absolute best belief of yourself. You must believe the best of yourself. And if you can't believe the best of yourself, you are going to be shocked and surprised at how quickly that is going to translate into failure in the market, into blown accounts, into failed evaluations, into all of these things. It is going to very, very quickly. And that is why in recent times, you find that when people take evaluations, you get through phase one, and when it gets to phase two, it's a problem. And the moment you have the funded account, that is where all the problem lies. It is the same system you traded to pass phase one and phase two. Why is the funded stage? What's the difference? It's in the mind. It's not with the strategy. It's with the things you believe about yourself. It's with the excitement of, money is coming, this and that. That excitement, all of those things. And, before you know it, you start to do things that sabotage your system. So, I want you to begin to take note of one of the ways to combat this is that you're going to need to get a journal, and you have to be very honest with yourself. What do I really believe? Has anyone in my family ever made X amount of money? Have I made X amount of money in the past? Then you ask yourself an honest question. Do I really believe in my heart of hearts that I can make X amount of money? I remember, I'm a C Ronaldo fan. So I remember in one instance when they put Cristiano Ronaldo on a truth machine where they attach machines to your hands and parts of your body, and when you tell a lie, it bleeps. And then they asked Cristiano Ronaldo, "Do you think that Portugal is going to win the World Cup?" And he said yes, he believes that Portugal is going to win the World Cup. But then the machine bleeped that he lied. That means in his heart of heart, he did not even believe that Portugal was going to win that World Cup. So what does that tell you? It tells you something. Before it can happen, you have to dangerously believe it within your mind that X, Y, and Z can happen. And if you don't believe it, there is practically no way it is going to happen. So it is the things you believe about yourself, the things you believe about yourself as an individual and your capacity as an individual, those are the things that come to you when you sit on your charts in the market. So you must get to a point where you sit down and you tell yourself that you are deserving of this. The battle of trading is won and lost within the mind. You can take a loss on the market. You can take 3 losing trades in a row, but that's just on the chart. It is not in your mind. The loss is on the chart. The loss is in the P&L. The P&L is not your mind. So if you cannot separate the loss of how you feel within your mind and what you are seeing on your P&L, if you cannot separate these two things to know that a loss on the P&L is not a loss for me as a person, it doesn't mean that I have failed. It doesn't mean that I'm not a good trader. It doesn't mean that I am not going to be successful. If you cannot separate that, you are consistently going to act against your own interest in the market because of the wrong things you believe about yourself in this business. And also, one more thing that I do feel is also a big problem is that in this industry, people tend to follow trends far too much. When something is trending, everybody's on it. The moment it stops trending, everybody moves away to the next thing. And then channels that tend to make videos like that, those channels tend to blow up a lot. Channels that make, like a time when prop firms were trending. In fact, I was reviewing my channel the other day, and I found that there was a time I had videos that did 40,000 views on a single video, and it was crazy that I had those type of views. But in recent times, the moment you begin to focus on education and really talking about the things that matters to traders, the views begin to drop and all of these things. So it tells you that people are not really interested in, the learning process of trading or appreciating the art or the craft of trading. What you just want is, oh, this person just, I withdrew $5,000, and then that's the video everybody wants to see. Or how did he withdraw the $5,000? What strategy did he follow? You can't replicate the strategy. You can't. You're not in the guy's mind. So subscribe to this video. Let's get this channel up to 10,000, up to 3,000. Of course, now we're going to get to 10,000. I believe that we're going to get to 10,000. And I believe very strongly that one day we're going to be sitting on 100,000 views on this channel. And of course, on my other channel, Hosanna Chikwado as well, we're going to have 100,000. We're going to have YouTube plaque for these two channels. I have no doubt about that in my mind. So I hope to see you on the next episode, and we are going to continue to create. Amidst the declining views and all of these things, for me, it doesn't matter. Eventually, we're going to pick up right back, and we are going to continue to create the content that matters. And I sincerely hope I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.